The Tamil Nadu face-off between the governor and the state government has put the spotlight on the VC appointment issue in other states as well. There are many instances of the fuss over appointment of vice-chancellor in universities, particularly in states ruled by political parties other than that at the centre. Kerala, West Bengal, Maharashtra, to name a few. Now, in fact, Maharashtra state legislature recently even passed the Maharashtra Public Universities Third Amendment Act, curtailing the powers of the governor in universities. And to discuss this long-standing government versus governor tussle in the field of academics, let me welcome Mr. Arun Sawant, who is a former Vice-Chancellor of Rajasthan University, joining us here on the program. Very good evening to you, Mr. Sawant. Thanks for joining us on Mirror Now. The question here that I want to address is more about what should be the ideal procedure for appointing the Vice-Chancellor of a university. The tussle that we see happening now over these appointments make it seem as if these are political appointments for these coveted positions. And now there is a slugfest between parties, especially in those states where the centre and the state are ruled by different parties.
Very unfortunately, the governments have entered into the appointment of vice-chancellors in a very bad way. Now, what should be done is well defined. The UGC has issued the regulation. I can even name that 7.3.01-1/2009. In 2009, they issued the regulation only for the reasons that UGC observed that the states are encroaching upon academic powers of the UGC and appointing vice-chancellors of any type like IAS, IPS, retired judges. I mean, these are in their own positions. They are important persons, but not for the positions of the university. So please look into the UGC regulation, well laid down procedure, wherein they have said there shall be a search committee. Unfortunately, they have started inviting applications, and anybody in hundreds and thousands have been applying for the post of vice-chancellor. And so the search committee have to find out who are the good academicians and who can search out that not a bureaucrat or not a judge, the persons in the field of academics. So UGC said the search committee should be a member of 3 to 5 members committee who shall be distinguished academicians. Please listen, read that. They should be academicians, distinguished academicians. So they have to be beyond many of the good researchers and the professors. And they shall search the candidates who shall be necessarily in the rank of professor, not lecturer, reader, or principal, a professor of minimum 10 years experience, with on a merit. So when all professors only can apply for this, having highest academic achievements are the words described there. And therefore,
but sir, the general impression is that because the governor of the state is the chancellor, there is a certain prerogative that the governor enjoys in this?
See, the governor has been given the power to appoint the chairman of the committee. Universities have to give 2 nominees as per UGC regulation of Academic Council and Management Council. And then there shall be a nominee from the government. And so they have to be an academicians, Basically, such committee members, whether appointed by government or anybody, or even UGC nominee, has to be there to see the UGC regulation. So UGC nominee is forgotten by many states. So the state committee can find out anybody as a member, and then there is a political contrast, differences like say in state of Maharashtra, the tussle begins, So we, the academicians, urge, because education is an academic body, vice-chancellor is academic and administrative head of the university. They have tremendous powers and nobody can interfere in the academics of the university. Now further, in the regulation, they say the maintenance of standards of higher education is under entry 66. It cannot be vitiated by the states or universities by themselves also.
Okay.
So the academic standards are to be maintained by the UGC. All other entries of the central list have been given to the states except maintaining standards of higher education. And so all the appointments, lecturer, assistant professor, associate professor, directors, principals, and vice chancellor, qualifications have been prescribed, procedures have been prescribed. You can't approve the even assistant professor if not selected by the university
So,
regulation.
yes, so the UGC has the larger role to play here, and that should remain paramount in the larger interest of meritocracy, like you said, and fair play.
Yes,
And there must be academic rigor. There should not be this government interference. Did I get you
not
right?
at all. So
Yes.
our urge to government is to, there are so many good opportunities for people in political interest or social life, from MLA to MLCs, and so many chairmen of the councils. They have scope to get into back and again,
Okay.
you know. A vice chancellor they should spare for the interest of the children, standard of education, and the growth of the state. In fact, UGC regulations.
This is an area where the state needs to back out. The kind of interference we have seen is not acceptable, not in the interest of academics. And thank you so much, for giving us this clarity, sir, and for giving us this perspective.
I just add a sentence
Sure.
that the powers are vested with the UGC.
Yes.
The 2A universities, if they don't follow UGC regulation, their all assistance grant can be curtailed. Unfortunately, UGC chairman also is not strict on this issue. What we require, implementation of regulations, will have such a strong chairman.
Implementation of regulations laid down very clearly by the UGC.
Yes, but
Mr.
UGC
Sawant,
is
thanks
not
for joining
strict
us.
on that.
Yes, I made that point,
say-
and you've also explained to us in great detail why this is critical in the larger interest of the students. Thanks very much for joining us, sir.